I am going to fucking kill myself in a video game. I'm going to turn on Cyberpunk and jump off the fucking highest building. Influx of migrants pushing the cities to the brink.
Demasiado triste mi situación y la situación que está pasando en mi país.
After an agonizing 3-month journey fleeing his home country of Venezuela, for John Luis Alvarez, this is welcome to America.
This part is so wild to me because, like, we gave temporary protective statuses to Venezuelan migrants for political purposes, okay? Which, you know, we should do to everyone, really. And now everyone is so mad that they're coming over the border. It's like, why? Like, what's happening? You know, they're treating Venezuelan migrants like they treat Cuban migrants in this country.
Tired, alone, and penniless, he's forced to ask for money on the streets of El Paso, Texas.
Estoy pidiendo limosna, la verdad, porque nunca en mi vida había pedido, amigo, y tengo hambre y de verdad quiero completar un pasaje.
The 21-year-old nursing student, hungry, fueled solely by purpose.
Mi mamá sufre de tuberculosis y entonces yo venía muy apresurado.
¿Veniste acá para apoyar a tu mamá porque está enferma?
Sí, quiero mis papeles y quiero salir adelante en una universidad porque yo veo que aquí hay un futuro.
Alvarez's story of determination over desperation is common at the border. He's part of a rapidly growing number of migrants.
Bro, they fucking put concerta wire, like, all over the goddamn border, and literally on the buoys, they put saws on the buoys on the water. Like, it's so sickening, dude.
Arriving in the past 2 weeks seeking asylum, the vast majority from Venezuela.
The surge we're seeing now may be only the tip of the iceberg. Not only did people begin relocating to Central and South America years ago, but people have continued to travel to that region intending to come to the United States.
Some of them trekking through the dangerous jungles of the Darien Gap to reach North America. Officials reported more than 142,000 migrant encounters at the southern border in the first half of September alone, on pace to be the highest single month this year, if not of all time. In the past week, U.S. Border Patrol apprehended about 8,000 migrants per day, numbers that we haven't seen since the final days of Title 42, the pandemic-era policy that allowed officials to quickly expel most migrants at the border without allowing asylum claims.
We knew at that time that migrants were waiting in Mexico to understand how the U.S. policies from the Biden administration would affect them, and now we're seeing those migrants beginning to return to those movements.
The influx straining border towns.
We've gotten to the breaking point.
And big cities around the country.
This issue will destroy New York City.
And raising questions for the federal government.
How sustainable is this, your ability to respond to this amount of people at the border?
This isn't sustainable.
The latest crisis revealing just how broken our immigration system is.
The current surge at the southern border should surprise no one. What is surprising is that we aren't better prepared to deal with it, that we do not have a comprehensive national plan.
In Eagle Pass, Texas today, the tension between federal and state agencies on full display. The Texas National Guard erecting more wire as a group of migrants lined up by the Rio Grande to get through. Only for federal Border Patrol officers to...
Insanity to keep Trump's sanctions going, but hey, Biden might be called a socialist, so I guess there's that millions of ruined lives. Yeah, the worst part about it is, outside of like the obvious human suffering that you're experiencing right in front of our eyes, is that they don't give a shit. Republicans are saying that Biden is actually allowing, you know, billions of immigrants to come into the country and invade anyway. It doesn't even matter. He's doing the same shit, and they're still saying that. Bro, I get they come over here to seek asylum or a better living situation. I have nothing against them, but bro could literally work instead of begging for money. These new migrants are people who think that they'll get a job that needs papers like nursing. Wait, did you just... Man, you're an 11-month subscriber. Dude, hear yourself. Do you hear the words that are coming out of you right now? Do you see what you're typing? The fuck? Bro, you literally said bro could get a job instead of begging for money. And then you fucking said these new migrants are people who think they'll get a job that needs papers like nursing. Bro, that's a human, first of all. That's like a nursing student. That's no different than your friends in college that are nursing students. You know that, right? Like, he just, you know, he just looks, I guess, a little bit more tan than your fucking pasty-ass friends, I suspect.
To step in.
I don't know what to say about this. Climate change is a giant part of this. Well, no, this isn't. A lot of the refugees that are coming in are not even climate change refugees. They're Venezuelan. They know that there's TPS, temporary protected status for Venezuelan migrants, because, you know, we are starving out the Venezuelan population with sanctions. So, and also on top of that, saying like, oh, if you're anti-communist, right? Like, come in. It's great. Similar or not dissimilar to the situation with Cuban migrants. And then when they come in, because they're brown, the Republicans don't make a distinction between the people coming in, and they literally fucking say, oh, look, they're Mexicans. They're coming in from Mexico. They're Mexicans that are coming in. Now, on top of that, there's also obviously climate refugees as well, due to ecosystems being completely wiped out, agriculture no longer being a thing that you can engage in, and numerous other policies. But as I've said over and over again, the way to solve these issues, and this is an issue, the way to solve these issues is by economic cooperation and not imperialism and not sanctions, unnecessary sanctions. Yeah, I have read about Cesar Chavez's views on immigration. I didn't, unlike you, I actually read those views and didn't fucking just watch a Tucker Carlson video on it and came in here to be fucking smarmy. Okay? Yes, I am familiar. I understand that he was wrong, at least on one aspect of it. Okay? There is no singular labor pool that has a finite amount of jobs available. That's not a real thing. Okay? Not real. It's a fallacy that was proven like in the 18th century. Okay? Cesar Chavez was against illegal immigrants working in the fields because it depressed the wages for all the workers, apparently. Yes, I know. The issue is that there is truth to that sentiment. Undocumented migrant workers do depress wages because you create a permanently refreshing underclass that has no protection from the federal government and can be purged at a moment's notice, like in the chicken factories and the poultry factories in Alabama, where they ask for back pay or make a big stink about the sexual harassment that they withstand, and then they send in ICE agents and fucking kick them out, despite in spite of the fact that they brought those migrant workers that are undocumented to Alabama to live in trailer parks specifically so they could underpay them. The solution to undocumented immigration depressing wages and creating a permanent underclass is not to purge some of the labor force and treat them as second-class citizens. The solution is to legalize them and allow them to join unions, okay? To participate in the same pool of profits that they're generating, the values that they're generating. However, why the fuck would we do that when capital owners benefit from undocumented labor coming into the country? We will never do that, just like we will never really punish businesses for hiring undocumented workers. That's the real issue. If we truly were a economic nationalist country, right? If we truly were as aggressively pursuing racial purity as like Republicans claim we are, then you would make it fucking illegal, so illegal to hire undocumented workers that, yeah, the owner would go to jail, okay? But that's not the point. The real reason why there is a two-tiered labor structure in this country is because it benefits capital owners. That's why. That's the reason. It depresses the existing labor pool of natural-born U.S. citizens and visa holders as well. But even though the H-1B visas are also used to depress wages in a similar way in fields that require more technical proficiency. Okay, but that's how it works. If you really wanted to fucking stop, undocumented migrants coming into the country, you wouldn't just like enforce it with police and try to kill them while they're fucking crossing the border. You would do it by targeting capital owners and bosses. If you're simply getting a fucking slap on the wrist for recycling your fucking labor force, anytime you you keep stealing from them, you don't pay them back pay, you don't allow them to get any benefits whatsoever because they're undocumented. What the fuck are they gonna say, right? They can't go to the cop. They can't go to the police. You can do whatever the fuck you want to them. They're basically like slaves, pretty much. Okay? And when they do actually organize and demand what is just in their workplaces, you can just fucking sick the ICE authorities on your own workplace, pay a fucking minor fine, and literally go back and immediately hire a new wave of undocumented migrants. That is how this works, by the way. That's like literally, I'm describing to you how the American agricultural industry works, okay? This is how we work in the poultry business. This is how it works in all kinds of meat processing, agricultural, all the fucking toughest goddamn jobs that are still being done in the United States of America work with immigrant labor, okay? Migrant workers that come in that are specifically told to go to Alabama to live in fucking trailer parks, to shut the fuck up day in, day out, and work for pennies on the dollar every single fucking day, harming themselves, okay? Putting themselves in really awful conditions with no legal recourse, with no labor protections whatsoever, okay? Only to be purged from this country like an aberration, to be excised like an aberration on a moment's notice. That's how it fucking works. These people should not have to come in into our borders through illegal ways, okay? You can just legalize it. It's a matter of political will. It's a matter of doing the right thing and wanting to do the right thing. But they won't do it. You simply need to see out there, not just whining in your bedroom. Yeah, we believe you. What stupid takes? Stupid. And this Trump's fault. Yeah, man, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I never work with like immigrant advocacy groups whatsoever. I have no understanding of what it takes. I've never met undocumented migrants. You're so right. Thank you. I just simply whine from my bedroom about these issues. Maybe you should do a little bit more reading so you get a better understanding of it before chirping in the fucking chat. Like, nothing I've said thus far is incorrect. Okay, yes, but why do Republicans push so hard against immigration if it's directly benefiting them? Because they know, just like every liberal also knows, that you will never stop the flow of migration into this country. Okay? We have money, they don't. We kept them down, we put them in fucking awful conditions, and therefore there's always going to be an influx of migrants coming in, no matter how aggressive our border policies are. Okay? I just explained to you, if you really wanted to solve the immigration problem, you would attack it at where it exists. But you don't do that. And I don't even think that's the right way to go about it anyway. The right way to go about it and the just way to go about it is to legalize, offer amnesty, and create a legal pathway towards citizenship for all people living on U.S. soil, and also allow every single person that is engaging in asylum seeking to come into the country through legal means. But we don't do that right now. The worst part about this is actually, the additionally ironic part about this actually is that those people right there are all technically legal asylum seekers. You know that, right? Under the American government's eyes, they are literally not even doing anything illegal. It doesn't matter how much fucking dumbass Republicans chirp about it. It's the truth, okay? What they're doing is a legal process, okay? In order to apply for asylum in the United States, you have to do it on U.S. soil. And on top of that, they have temporary protected status because Venezuela is a scary communist nation. Okay? Look at this guy. He said Spain is full of rapes and robbery because of massive immigration. You're right, brother. No one was famously raping in Spain or doing robbery before immigration. You're so right. It's just like, it's such a fucking psychotic, idiotic copium to just be like, no, it's the immigrants. Like, they're the ones, they're doing it. Most immigrants come to work and pay taxes, but whatever. Yes, they all do. What do you mean? They all do. Yeah, I mean, the same takes on immigrants have been recycled for over a century while simultaneously taking advantage of them. The Bracero program is quite literally this exact thing. But of course, back then, Texas ranchers would kill cops to defend Mexican migrant workers. They would literally hunt cops back in Texas back in the day. All matter of immigration and stringent immigration protocols were put into place specifically it was specifically done to depress wages for a group of individuals. So you could just basically legally enslave them, or at the very least deny them of any sort of mechanism for legal recourse, to ask for back pay, to organize. That's the whole fucking point. That's it. And for someone that said, like, there were some people who said, oh, well, what about, is there too many people? Like, yeah, there is. But it would take a very long time and a shit ton of people for us to get to that point. Okay? As it stands, the entire state of Texas, if it was the same population density of New York City, Manhattan, the entire state of Texas could technically take every single person living on the planet and have them live there comfortably. Okay? The landmass of Texas could literally comfortably house the entire population of the entire planet as long as the density of Texas was New York City levels. The idea that we have like an overpopulation problem in America is fucking insane. Hello, look at Wyoming. Okay? Look at North Dakota. Look at Montana. With immigration, it's not about fucking opening up the borders to every single person, okay? It's about making it so that people living in Guatemala don't feel the need to come to the United States of America. If you want to solve the immigration problem, which it isn't really a problem, but it will become a problem 100%. If you want to... What? Hasan, can you explain why is Chinese entering USA southern border while filming himself illegally entering USA? What? Dude, I don't know what kind of thing you saw on Facebook, dog. Like, get that shit out of here. What the fuck are you saying?
Convicted sexual predators.
500 miles.
Wait, where the fuck are we? He was saying, psychotic CBP guy saying, oh, we got a problem.
The environment, to ask them to watch them get swept away by the river, to ask them to watch women and children drown is not something I or anybody else would ever do. I applaud them and I support them 100% for doing what they had to do to protect the lives of not just migrants, but everybody that's involved.
Late last week, Eagle Pass declared a state of emergency after more than 5,000 migrants entered the small town of just 28,000.
This is definitely a very serious situation for the city of Eagle Pass.
The city's mayor, Rolando Salinas, expressing his outrage with the White House in a recent interview with CNN.
We're here abandoned, we're on the border, we're asking for help, this is unacceptable.
Owens, the top U.S. official here on the front lines, says human smugglers surged migrants to Eagle Pass for a reason.
I believe it's a money-making opportunity for those smugglers, and I believe it's a distraction for them to cross other things into the country.
Other things like
narcotics, fentanyl, bulk cash, weapons, people of interest, whether it be hardened criminals, gang members, convicted sexual predators.
500 miles away from Eagle Pass in El Paso.
Yeah, bro, it's like, dude, yeah, if you're like a convicted felon in Venezuela or like fucking Mexico, you're like, man, you know where I want to go to do crimes? A country where I can't even fucking bribe the local authorities. You know what I mean? Like a country where I will also have to withstand racist, racial scrutiny on top of that, where everyone automatically assumes I'm a fucking rapist criminal too. It's like so much better. It's so much better to do crimes in America instead of the crimes I'm doing at home. You know what I mean? It's like way better. I'm not just a criminal. I'm a criminal with big dreams. Okay? For the record, this doesn't mean that there aren't examples of this, okay? Like that fucking guy who was in Brazil and then did a murder in Brazil, went to America, openly admitted that he did a murder to his girlfriend, and then murdered his girlfriend, right? Who was on the manhunt. But like that's far from the norm. Do you see what I'm saying? Like that's not the norm. Okay? I don't get the funny joke, Hasan. What? What do you mean you don't get the funny joke? Like you think people are just like, I want to level up on my crime. I'm not just a criminal, I have big dreams, so I'm going to Tinseltown to do my crime. Is that what you think people are doing? Like undocumented migrants literally do less crime on average. Like undocumented migrants do less crime per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens. This is a factually accurate statement that has been consistent in perpetuity since the beginning of like time when we realized like maybe we should call some people illegal in this country. Okay? There's never been a moment where undocumented migrants have ever done more crime per capita than natural-born U.S. citizens. Understand this, okay? Whenever people say, oh, immigrants are doing crime, like migrants are doing crime, shut the fuck up. No, they're not. Shut the fuck up, okay? This isn't goddamn Night City. Going from Venezuela to a city, to Night City for a life of crime, baby. Yeah, they're like, no. I can't wait to go to Night City to do crimes where it's legal, okay? I heard California has legalized crime, and I am a criminal. I love doing crime, so I'm going to California where they legalized it. Like, shut the fuck up. That's not how that works. Oh my God. Just think about it like a little bit, okay? None of this has any basis in reality. It's just all made up. I am beginning to recognize the unfortunate reality that I spend an insane amount of time constantly having to address falsehoods that are so permanent, like falsehoods that have become a permanent fixture in American discourse with actual factually correct statements, okay, that people still go, la, 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 can't hear you. What about that one time that undocumented immigrant raped someone? Okay? You're not convincing enough. I am going to fucking kill myself in a video game. What do you mean I'm not convincing enough? It's just the truth. The fuck do you mean? I'm going to turn on Cyberpunk and jump off the fucking highest building. It's like that other chatter who's like looking at the actual fucking data that says retail theft is not higher on average. It's just, you know, it is perfectly proportional to retail going up, okay? And saying, nah, I don't believe you. Why do they fucking lock up the toothpaste then? Like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this job? Like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Like, what is the purpose? Why have I ever done anything? Why am I will never make gains in this fucking country. I will never be able to convince people, it seems, when people are just like, no, well, you're fucking shut up, idiot. Like, you're gay and soy and Marxist, and I heard that's bad, and I'm fucking stupid, and I don't want to believe the facts that you're bringing to the table. So, like, I'm not going to believe you. I choose not to believe you, and if you actually tell me that this is empirically incorrect, then it doesn't matter because I'm going to turn around and say, well, you're not convincing enough. Like, what can I do? I can't hold your hand. I can't hold your hand any further than, like, giving you factually accurate information, and then you going, not convincing. The fuck?
So, the city working to bus migrants to their chosen final destinations.
When the asylum seekers come into El Paso, they're not coming to El Paso, they're coming to the United States.
Dozens of new arrivals lined up to board this bus heading to New York City, where the mayor is trying to reduce the number of days the city will shelter single adults. In Sunland Park, New Mexico, 15 minutes from El Paso, Fire Chief Danny Medrano has been responding when migrants hurt themselves trying to climb over this wall.
So this is what leads to the broken ankles,
broken ankles, cracked skulls, yeah, that kind of stuff, sure.
And sometimes the accidents are deadly.
We're seeing a lot of search and rescues, a lot of body recoveries.
Deaths.
Yeah, deaths.
How difficult is that for your department?
Well, it is difficult. If we make the call while that person is still alive and we're trying to resuscitate, we look at it as a failure on our part.
For many who make the journey, the risk is worth it. A large part of the influx has been displaced Venezuelans.
This comes from a Texas study conducted on the matter. Undocumented immigrants are far less likely to commit crimes in the United States than legal-born U.S. citizens. This is a study. Here's the original study. Comparing crime rates between undocumented immigrants, legal immigrants, and native-born U.S. citizens in Texas. This is why the major copium that comes every time you bring up this study is by those who fucking turn around and say, well, technically they all did a crime because they crossed the border illegally, which is supposed to be a misdemeanor. And in the case of many asylum seekers, not even a crime at all, as a matter of fact. So it doesn't matter, because I think that a lot of people just simply don't want to know the truth. That's 4 years ago. It's just consistent with all information on that is available on the subject. You can't fucking say, oh, it's 4 years ago, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna die. Brother, this is the problem with defensive posturing against people who are just trying to pick apart your argument. Do you have a study backing your fucking statements? No, you have vibes. Why are you coming in here and being like, well, that study is 4 years ago? Okay, do you have a study? No? Then where did you get your argument from? You're fucking asshole. That's where you made it the fuck up, because you watched TV and you got scared that like scary brown man was coming over the border to fuck your mom. Why? Why am I having a conversation with someone who doesn't have any evidence to back their statements? What am I doing? What am I doing? Wait, what did he say? Michael Savage? Michael Savage, known by professional name Michael Allen Weiner, known by professional name Michael Savage, the American right-wing author, political commentator, activist, and former radio host, podcaster out of San Fran. I gave you not one, but two studies comparing crime rates between undocumented immigrants and legal immigrants and natural-born U.S. citizens, and your retort was some fucking dumbass right-wing podcaster. Like, not even anything that he said, just the name of a right-wing podcaster. I'm sorry, dude. I'm going to be real honest with you. You're too stupid to exist, okay? If things were like 3% different, you would not exist on this planet. And I don't mean like your mother should have swallowed you. I mean literally like if we had not actually created, if we had not decided to congregate around rivers and bodies of water and build cities and you know, make sure that through collective organizing, exist, coexist, thrive, build cities and shit like that, you would literally be dead. You would be dead because you would walk over a fucking canyon and go, I could probably survive if I fell from this, and die. And I don't know. Every day that I have to deal with people, I begin to realize that it's actually probably better that way. You know? It might be better if there wasn't like this relatively expensive and yet still somewhat functioning medical structure that keeps dumbasses like you alive. Like, the amount of processing power you have means that like you're the type of dude who, if the fucking Looney Tunes guy drew a fucking tunnel on a mountainside, you'd run into it head first. And then get up and then run into it again head first until you killed yourself. You just could not comprehend that you're not running into a tunnel. It's just like drawn there. You would just, in the most comical way, kill yourself by running into it over and over again until what remains of your brain, which is not much to begin with, was mush. I agree with most of what you're saying. I was making it aware there was a 3 year ago post. False brother, I know you preaching, but in Allah I praise you. The guy you brought up, Michael Savage, promotes white nationalist conspiracy on his radio show, wins praise from racist author. Sick. By the way, this is the other reason why I don't do fucking debates. Because after a certain point, when you've had these discussions a million times over, you realize, like, no, there's a lot of people. There's just a lot of people who are just too fucking stupid. The article was 4 years ago. No, 2018 is just like the SPLC part of that article.
Since 2015, more than 7 million Venezuelans have left after the country spiraled into an economic and subsequent political crisis. Some head north through the notorious Darien Gap. We met this group praying before beginning the trek through the brutal stretch of jungle. The terrain usually wet and muddy, swallowing what little belongings migrants still own. A pair of jeans, a shoe, a small child's sock.
In 2022, more than 250,000 people made their way through the Darien Gap. By the time July ended this year, that number had already been surpassed. The stuff we're seeing here in the Darien, we've never seen before.
Jose and Maria Torres carrying their baby boy up the muddy hills, fighting to give him a chance at a better life.
I gotta pee. And the top of the hour ad break is here. I'm giving up.
Dime. Uno pasa muchas cosas que uno desea llegar rápido allá. Darle mejores cosas a él, un mejor futuro.
What we see at the Darien Gap 3 to 4 weeks afterwards will be happening in Mexico, and within just a couple of weeks after that, we'll be arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border.
The crisis we're experiencing today at the southern border really is a generational issue. We anticipate that we will continue to see large numbers of people fleeing poverty, fleeing violence, fleeing disease, traveling to Central and South America with the intention of coming to the United States.
The debate over the best solutions to help the crisis rages on. Late last week, the Biden administration extended temporary protected status to more than 470,000 Venezuelans who arrived in the country before July 31st, allowing them to legally work. The reactions? Mixed.
Even though it's a tool perhaps for the short term that brings about more stability for cities, TPS within itself is not a durable solution for migrants or for what we're seeing at the border. We need to have more stable, long-term pathways.
On the same day he extended TPS protections for Venezuelans, the president defending his administration in remarks to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus.
These migrants will be able to apply for work permits, but that's not all. We've already delivered over $1 billion that Congress appropriated to states and cities receiving migrants.
He also called on Congress to pass $4 billion in additional funding.
I've requested more funding, but instead of stepping up with solutions, Republicans are threatening to shut down the government.
For now, back in El Paso, John Luis Alvarez can only do what's in his control. Dream.
Quiero salir adelante, casarme con mi esposa, hacer mi familia, estudiar si se me da la oportunidad de estudiar, si no, bueno, trabajar, ayudar a mi mamá, pero necesito hacer algo ya.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC.
All right. On that note, I'm ending it here. Okay.